this next podcast might seem a bit of a sidestep away from social media and marketing, but when you really drill down into it and you listen to the podcast as it goes on, you'll realize that Victor's story is all about community. It's all about social media. It's all about marketing. It's all about the techniques that we can use to build our audiences and get better outcomes. So let's dive in and please enjoy. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me. This is actually the first podcast I've done. I've been asked quite a number of times to do podcasts, but so you're the first.
Everyone's assuming that you're a good old Glaswegian.
Right.
So let's take it a little bit.
Okay. If you go back to the early days, I was the youngest of 8 people. My parents were Italian immigrants. They came into the country, got married, and like good Christian people, they started having big Italian families, and I was the last to pop out. There was 8 of us. My father died when I was 6 and left my mother with all these kids on her own, you know. So her sacrifice to bring up these kids must have been enormous. You get to the grand old age of 14 and you leave school. You go home and you say, that's it. What was the first thing my mother said? Go and get a job.
Did she expect you to work before that?
Oh yeah, I had Saturday jobs. And
what were your Saturday jobs?
Saturday jobs was running in and out of a fruit van, knocking doors, getting baskets and getting the customer's line, having it ready for her when she came in. And when we drove up to her door, it was ready. So that was it. But the big one was, the big change in my life was when I left school and everybody was going into apprenticeships. Well, in those days, apprenticeships were, the money was rubbish. And I couldn't do that because I had to have a salary, or money, salary? We had to get a brown envelope to take home to help pay for the actual household. So I got a job in a laundry unit in Larbert and Falkirk, and I was a laundry boy. And so what I did was, you got on this, and it was good money. In those days, we got about 6 or 7 quid a week, whereas an apprenticeship, some apprenticeships you actually paid to learn. Anyway, I got this job and it paid really well, and my mother was happy with that. That was good. I did that for about 3 years, running in and out of vans and taking dirty washing in and taking clean stuff out and all the rest of it. And one day we changed vans. Victor, you go in this van, and this was like because we were going to do big houses, and these big houses didn't just have the normal parcel of laundry, it was baskets, big baskets. And I took the basket up to this big house in Falkirk, and the name of the people that had the house was Alexander, Walter Alexander. And Walter Alexander was one of the wealthiest people in Scotland, and they had buses. On their buses that they had a logo, and the logo was a bluebird on the buses. And we all knew it in around Scotland, if you got a bluebird bus, you're fine, you're happy because it's comfortable and all the rest of that kind of stuff, you know. Anyway, this day we changed the vans, and he says, right, Victor, you go up there and take that to Alexander's. So I took this basket, pouring the rain, bucketing rain, soaking bloody wet, up the drive. Outside the house was an awning. Under the awning was a black, I can see it to this day, a black Jaguar car, and the chauffeur was wiping it down because it had been raining. And when I swapped the basket over for the dirty linen, I had it in my back like this, and I looked back and I saw what was the thing that inspired me, and that was, it was a big house, big bay window. Inside the house, the lights were on, there was a chandelier on. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Lights, chandelier, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And there was Mrs. Alexander with her lady friends drinking tea and eating cake. And the lawns were beautifully laundered, and the roses were all trimmed, and it was just fantastic. And I looked round and I just thought, That's what I want one day. I really would like that. That's what I want to strive for. So this little boy from Falkirk, 14 years of age, think to myself, that's what I'm going to get. So one of the things that I did was we used to go to Blackpool for holidays. And
it's a good Scottish tradition.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. So me and my 3 other brothers, we used to go down the van to Blackpool. And we passed a tattooist, as you do, along the front. And to remind me of what I wanted in my life, 14 years of age, I got that bluebird tattooed onto my arm. And I've got it to this day.
Right.
Yeah. That's driven me since I was 14 years of age. I wanted that house, that type of house, that lifestyle. How did I have to? I had no idea how I was going to get it. None whatsoever. And that was how I put in my head, what do you have to do to try and become a millionaire? And it was that. It's how simple is that, isn't it?
It is.
So that's where we got to. So from there, you just go on to, there's sayings now, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you're doing.
Yeah.
So dressed as a laundry boy was like no more than sort of old clothes. Mm-hmm. And when you used to go up the high street in Falkirk and you'd pass Burton's window and you see these suits and see the salesman outside, I thought, if I want a decent job, I've got to at least look like them. And so I decided to get a job in a furniture shop in Falkirk so I could wear a suit.
Tell us a little bit about your experience of selling in your furniture shop, because for those people who don't know, obviously you were sales director of Silent Night,
yeah.
But it all started in Falkirk.
It was one of those things that, even people ask me today, Victor, what do you actually do? I'm a salesman. Yeah, but no, I'm a salesman. That's all I do. I sell. And the job in Nairns and Falkirk was fantastic, really, because I had a suit and I was at the start, I was on the ground floor of trying to do something with my life that I quite liked, which was like selling, talking with people, not to people, talking with people, and earning good money.
Does this come back to laundry, talking to people at front doors?
Yeah, getting tips.
Fruit and veg, having to have a voice in a family of 8 people.
Absolutely.
So being a communicator was like always in your DNA.
You summed it up quite nicely there. That's how it was, because and one of the things that I learned about money back to the laundry days was he would give me a float of money, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 quid, all in change. And you have to get the money and give the customer the change back. And I'll tell you what, for the first month, 2 months, I was always out of money. I couldn't handle it because I'd never been used to money before. I mean, we were poor. And so you learn about money.
Yes.
At a very early age, and that was it. So once you got your wage at the end of the week and the guy says, well, you're short of 2 quid or something like that, you have to pay it in. I went, whoa, can't do that. It's ridiculous. But you'd soon learn. So that's how I got to learn all about the value of money as well at that early age, because they don't teach you that at school.
No.
They didn't teach it at university. No. So Nairns was a good sort of stepping stone. But the other thing that I learned about Nairns was there was 4 salesmen in the shop, and I was the youngest, so I was like the 5th salesperson. So if they were all busy, I got to talk to the 6th customer that came into the shop. And that was hard.
You got the customers that nobody thought you were going to be able to close.
Correct. And that was like, this is not good, because I wasn't making any money. And I thought to myself, right, okay, what do I do here? So I decided that I'd go across the Woolworths. This shows you how long ago this is, isn't it? Go across the Woolworths and I bought 2 things. I invested in a yellow duster and some pledge. What's that got to do with marketing? So what I did was, I stood at the front of the shop and I polished the furniture. It's true.
So you'd be the first person that they'd always see coming through the door.
And we had the rule that whoever spoke to the customer first was his customer. So that was it. So I kept polishing all this furniture. What are you doing, polishing that? Oh, sorry, it's not quite right. Something came in. Oh, hello, can I have you? And you were off. So you earn money. And in those days, it was good money, really, really good money. And I enjoyed it. And then
It was commission-based.
Sorry?
Commission-based.
Commission-based, yeah. But no, I had a salary, but we had a commission on top of that. Right. And I enjoyed it. I really, really did enjoy it. It was fantastic because it was like you were talking to parents, youngsters, people getting married, and you were helping them to furnish their house and carpets and all the rest of it. And that's when I learned about add-on sales. So when they come in, they say, I just want a suite. So they want a suite. Fine, okay. Well, what colour's your carpet at the moment? Oh, it's blue. This is not going to go with the blue carpet. So, well, I changed. No, I like the suite. Well, maybe we should think about changing the carpet.
You'd upsell them a carpet.
All the time.
And then your wallpaper, I'm not sure that's going to be right for you.
It's just fantastic. So you learn these things, and you didn't know you were learning until you get into the big life. And then that's when, even today, when we talk about the businesses, about the add-on sales, because they go right to the bottom line. So if you can get sell a wedding at 20 grand, that's fine. But my whole question always is, well, what's the add-ons? How much have we sold at the bar? How much have we sold at all the extras? Because that's where the money is there. It's like anything else. You go and buy your BMW car, that one that's out there just now, you might pay 60, 70, 80 grand for it, as I did those a few years ago. But there's probably got about 10 grand's worth of extras on it. And that's where they get their money. It's the extras. Oh, you want a heated steering wheel? Oh, I love that. Yeah, we'll put that down. Don't tell you how much it is until you pick up your car. So it's fun. And you've got to introduce the fun element, a lot of it yourself, because being a salesperson can be a lonely life. Because if you're out on the road selling, it's very lonely. Even now, doing what I'm doing now.
Tell people what you're doing now.
I do a lot of looking after a few businesses, SMEs, which is to do with good small enterprises that are either startups or wanting to scale their business up. And I try and help them to do that, really. Not just so much by going and getting big loans, because you get a loan, you have to pay it back. Try and do it organically, try and build the business up themselves with the cash that they've got, but maybe being misspent or misused. There's a rule of thumb that I give every business, which is try and have at least 13 weeks of cash in the business. So if you come up against some difficult times, you don't have to go to the bank. You don't have to go and get a loan. You've got it there and use it. You know, so that's one of the many questions I ask when we sit down at board meetings. What's the cash reserve like? I would say, I don't know the right figure, but I would say the biggest part of businesses that go out of business is because they run out of cash. So if you know that, what are you going to do about it? Reserve, keep some cash in the business. I hear so many business plans, and just talking very quickly about business plans. Business plans should be very succinct, very simple, 2-3 pages.
It's more like a business mission rather than a plan.
That's it, and that's what we work on. But I've seen businesses who are given their annual report, and they talk about turnover like as if it is manna. And they're going to do this, they're going to do that, the next thing. And only recently, I won't say where, when, but only recently I was in the audience where a presentation was being made, and they were talking about in 25 they were going to make 25, which was 25 million in the year 25. Yeah, and not once in the presentation did I ever hear the word about profit.
Right. It was all turnover.
It was all turnover. Now, what was it Professor Roland Smith taught me as my mentor all these years ago? He taught me turnover is vanity, profit is sanity.
Yep.
You can do all of those things if you've got profit, if you've got cash.
Yep.
I don't think it's their fault. I just think it's the fault of sometimes of our education. We don't teach kids at an early age about the value of cash. I learnt about it when I started losing money out of giving people the wrong change. Go back to my laundry days.
So how do you go from being a sales lad in a shop in Falkirk to moving up the ranks and becoming what you are today?
Well, like lots of people, I didn't advertise to go. I didn't respond to an advert to go to Silent Night. They came to me because they were supplying the shop with beds.
Right.
And the sales director at the time used to come round with a rep, and they were looking for someone to replace him because he was getting promoted. And so they came round and took me across the road to Matheson's in Falkirk for a coffee and offered me the job. And I thought, wow, that's exactly what I like. Another suit. And I'll get a car. Oh, by the way, what's the money? And they told me what the money was. It was less I was making. I thought, ooh. But then you think about it. It was less than what I was making in the shop, but the shop I was nearly at the top. So I couldn't go much further with that. So I thought, if I invest in myself, maybe I could do something here. Don't go for the money all the time. Go for the opportunity, for the future that you believe in yourself that you can do. And I've never looked back. I had a great time at Silent Night. Fantastic time. Didn't pay an awful lot of money, but about 5 years before they went public, Tom Clark, who was my first mentor at Silent Night, they offered us shares in the business. Eventually they went public, and I actually wrote to Tom Clark, sent to him, we're going public and I've got all these shares. Do you think I could sell them, please? How naive was I? Anyway, so of course you can. He says, I'm selling some as well, but he says, I'm going to maintain 51% of the business. So that was my first venture into stocks and shares. And
so you sold them?
I sold them, made a fortune, made a nice little, at that age anyway, made a nice little fortune.
As photographers, we sell images, content, but generally we get the best out of people by knowing how to speak to people.
Yeah.
Now, that's a sales skill as much as it is a technical skill. How would you advise anybody coming into the world of sales or absolutely anything? What would be your core skill that they need to learn in order to move forward?
Well, that's not a difficult question to answer, because I think it will come out on the discussion, and that is your integrity will come out, your honesty will come out, your attitude to each other and to the project that we're talking about, that'll all come out. And if you're a sensitive chief exec, and I am super sensitive to people, because that's my job.
There's a study that says that CEOs and chairmen are basically psychopaths. That's why they can move forward and move up. But you're saying, don't be that person, be the other one who is empathetic to everyone's needs.
Well, I've been both, Simon.
Right.
When I was a young lad, 25, I was brutal. But you learn as you go along that that'll only get you so far.
Right.
But if you are nice to people and bring out their qualities to help me to help them, then that's a skill that I had to learn. When I left Silent Night, which was like £100 million turnover, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I was fairly well known in the trade. That well known, I was actually offered 9 positions in different companies around Europe. And I thought, I've had enough of PLC life. I really had enough of it. I was up to here with it. You make 10%, they want 11.
Yeah. And
that's the city. They want 12. They want and all that. That was getting regular. And I thought, what do I do? I don't know what to do really here. So right, I got a phone call from a company down in Southampton, private company, and they contacted me and said, "We'd like to come down and talk to us." Right, okay. I didn't know. I didn't have their accounts in front of me, but I did when I got there. And I thought, I must be mad. Anyway, my point was that I can't be brutal to this company or it's going to disappear, right? Because they're already bruised. They've been brutal to themselves. So what we need to try and do is we need to try and build this company up with the people that I've got and maybe try and change a few things with the people that's around.
So why did you see that transition from being not empathetic and just pushing forward to get what you wanted rather than suddenly becoming a team player and building teams around you and fostering what would be considered to be a modern CEO attitude?
I think, Simon, it was a big challenge.
Right. For you personally?
Yeah, it was a big challenge. And the whole industry were thought, what is he doing? Well, after 18 years, they knew what I'd done. And we still talk, you know. And it's been a huge learning curve for me at the time. I made more money and a lot more fun in Southampton than I did in Barnoldswick. But I learned a lot in Barnoldswick. I was taught an awful lot by two very, very good mentors, Tom Clark and Professor Owen Smith.
Did they have opposing viewpoints on what it was that made a great salesperson? Or is that where you learnt your balance? Or did you have that killer instinct to move up the chain and then they said, actually take a couple of steps back? What was the greatest piece of advice that your professor gave you?
Start being kind to people. Right. I know.
No.
Be kind. And everybody's going about, we're all going about the road today, all about the streets today. You've got no idea what my problems are.
Yeah.
I've got no idea what your problems are. So, you know, but when you're mid-20s, you don't give a damn about that. You just want to get there. That's what I want. And we're going to get that number. And that was when I look back, it wasn't nice. Some people will watch this and go, "Yeah, you
were that person.
You were that person." But you can't go through life like that.
One piece of advice that you could give anybody today on how to approach people in a social environment, because we're so stuck behind our screens that you'll see moving out into the world, they don't know how to talk to people.
Mm. It's a big problem.
Is it a muscle that you have to train?
I think the more that you can socialise with people, I think the better it is. When I don't do so much networking now, but I was at a session last night. It was a presentation, and I knew a lot of people, and I didn't talk to one of them. I wanted to talk to the other ones that I didn't know.
There's no point in keeping your circle. You need to expand your circle.
I need to develop it and see where else we can go with this conversation. So the more you can push yourself into an uncomfortable bouquet of people, you know, if there's 3 or 4 people talking, go in with a smile, introduce yourself, and let's see what happens.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us today. It's been insightful, as I knew it would be, because all our conversations are I always come away from them with at least 2% more knowledge than I ever did when we started the conversation.
Well, I'm not. It's very kind of you to say so, Simon. Thank you very much for the invite. It's been enjoyable. If I can share it with people and somebody can get something out of it, that's fine. When you go on seminars and you sit down for maybe 2 hours listening to people, if you come away with 1, 2, or 3 little golden nuggets, that's fine.
Yeah.
So if there's 1 or 2 that's dropped into somebody's brain, then that's fine. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'll send you the invoice.